All right, so today we're going to talk about a cultural moment that started with something simple. A slab of ribs, a camera, and one absolutely perfect word. We are diving deep into the story of Tenderism.
And it all starts with this. A line delivered with so much soul, so much raw conviction, you could feel it right through the screen. See, this wasn't just a guy describing his food. Oh no, this was the birth of a whole new philosophy.
Which brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did one word made up on the spot in a BBQ joint become this global thing? Well, let's get into it.
So our story doesn't start in some big marketing meeting. Nope, it begins in California, at a place called Destination Smokehouse. This is where something totally real, totally organic, was about to catch fire.
And this is our guy, Walter Johnson. He is the heart and soul of this whole thing. Now you gotta understand, he wasn't trying to go viral. He wasn't putting on a show for the camera. He was just a man, passionate about his cooking, speaking with that deep authority, and really just embodying the spirit of what's known as the FBA uncle at the cookout. And FBA, that stands for Foundational Black American. We're gonna break down exactly what that means in just a minute.
The moment itself, it was like a perfect little movie in just a few seconds. Act 1, the lift. You see that meat just sliding clean off the bone. Act 2, the proclamation. He drops the word on us, Tenderism. And then the grand finale, the move that sealed the deal. He throws his glasses. That wasn't an accident. That was pure artistic emphasis. It turned a food clip into absolute cinema.
And with that, well, the internet did what the internet does. It grabbed this moment of pure, authentic joy and just shot it into the stratosphere, all around the globe.
And the speed was just wild. I mean, look at this. Day 1, the video goes up. By day 2, it's already blowing up everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Reels, you name it. Day 3, it's a top trend on Black Twitter, which is where the real cultural conversation just ignited. And get this, within a single week, actual professional chefs and food critics are using the term. That's an insanely fast trip from a local spot to the official food dictionary.
And people didn't just share it, They remixed it, they built on it, there were gospel choir edits, people made motivational speeches out of it. It even became a new way to rate food. People started seriously judging restaurants on their tenderism level. It became a whole new unit of measurement for how good something is.
And this right here just perfectly shows how the whole thing evolved. It wasn't just a word anymore. It was the highest possible praise. It was a way to describe something so ridiculously good, it's beyond just taste. Practicing tenderism in 4K. I mean, that's just pure internet poetry.
But, okay, to really get why this whole thing connected with so many people, we need to talk about that cultural figure I mentioned a minute ago, the FBA uncle archetype.
So, the FBA uncle, he's way more than just a family member. He's like a cultural pillar. He's the guy who's part comedian, part philosopher, and 100% the undisputed king of the grill. And when he speaks with this authority that you can't learn in a book. It comes straight from lived experience, from the soul.
And Walter Johnson just embodies every single one of these traits. That unstoppable confidence in his own cooking, the natural humor, the soul behind it all, it's all right there. That's the energy people saw and instantly recognized. It felt real, it felt familiar, and it was just powerful.
Okay, so we know what happened and we know who the man behind it was. But the big question remains, why? Why did this one moment connect so deeply with millions? Let's get into the recipe, the secret sauce for this cultural explosion.
It really comes down to these 3 key pillars. First, you have the linguistic creativity. Look, FBA culture has this incredible history of creating slang and new ways of speaking that end up shaping how the whole world talks, and tenderism is just the latest, greatest example. Second, the cookout. The setting here is so important. It stands for community, legacy, and pride. One source called it an ancestral flex, and I love that. It's a celebration of skill and heritage. And finally, that magical mix of comedy and confidence. The way Walter delivered that line with such absolute, unshakable belief, that's what made it iconic. So where does tenderism actually fit in our everyday language? Well, we have words like drip, lit, or bop to describe a general feeling or a style, right? But tenderism, it carved out its own special place. It's not just for good food, it's for food that is so good it hits you on a spiritual level. And I think this is the most important part of the whole story. The vibe around this meme was just overwhelmingly positive. The internet wasn't laughing at Walter Johnson. No way. Everyone was laughing with him. They were celebrating his joy, his passion, and his incredible, authentic style. So, after all the dust is settled, what are we left with? Well, the legacy of Tenderism is about so much more than just a funny video that went viral for a few weeks.
This chart really breaks it down perfectly. Yeah, for sure. Part of its legacy is as a joke, something funny to say. And another part is as a real, legitimate way to measure how good food is. But the biggest piece of the pie, that huge 40% chunk, is its legacy as a powerful symbol of raw, organic Black creativity and its undeniable power to shape culture all over the world.
And if you take one thing away from this, let it be this right here. This whole thing happened without a single brand deal, without a fancy marketing team, without some influencer strategy. It was just real. It was authentic. And that's exactly why it was so powerful.
And that really brings it all home. We just saw how one single moment of pure, unscripted joy can create waves that travel across the entire globe. So the next time you're about to eat something truly special, something so perfect it just falls off the bone, I want you to remember Walter Johnson. Remember the lesson he taught all of us. You're not just having a meal. You're taking part in a feeling, a philosophy, a cultural moment. You, my friend, are practicing Tenderism.